Today on
Doomed!
There's usually a profit motive behind everything. And as you know, that's usually not very different when it comes to the right-wing grift. And I mean, it's called the right-wing grift for a reason. But today, on this episode of Doomed with Matt Binder, we're going to be diving into an incredible story, an investigation into some of these very large social media groups that have sprung up on the right that have a profit motive but are not necessarily political because the people running them are actually overseas and just trying to sell some t-shirts. Joining me to discuss this amazing story. I'm so enamored by this story, and there's a swerve or two here. First, let me pull us up on the screen. There we are. Joining me now, he is a journalist and graduate student at UC Berkeley, Nazmul Ahasan. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Matt.
Now, first, I want to make sure I pronounced your name correctly. I know we went over it before the show, but it always happens. I go live, and it doesn't matter how many times I practice it, but this time I got it right. Nice.
Yeah.
So, first of all, thank you for that. And then thank you for joining me. I'm really looking forward to talking about this. Now, you wrote this piece for the San Francisco Chronicle. And I guess first let's jump into this. Before we get into what is going on here, I want to know, what sent you down this particular rabbit hole?
Well, I would like to credit a Canadian PhD researcher who first detected that Bangladeshi spammers were controlling some of the largest pro-freedom convoy groups on Facebook. And but initially, the trend that we witnessed was that on that large Facebook groups, these administrators or others were sharing links to donation websites for people to donate, apparently to the cause of the Freedom Convoy. But even then, the involvement of Bangladeshis was very much curious, because why would a Bangladeshi be involved in a pro-convoy related group, right?
Right. So, I think I had actually seen a story in, I think the outlet was Grid News, and you were quoted in it. Yeah, you were quoted in it, right?
Yes, I was also quoted in that. Yes, I was interviewed.
Right.
That.
And at the time, you spoke to them, and they gave you, the Bangladeshi marketing firm, and or marketers, they seems like they gave you an answer that, like, it sounds like they were trying to say that they were hired to run the group or something, right? That seemed to be the gist.
Sort of, yes. So for that story, actually, I approached Great News because they were already doing some investigations related to the convoy, because they also found that one large group was controlled by someone whose Facebook account was hacked. So I thought they would be interested in knowing that. And I also suspect that they themselves are also investigating the same thing. So then they said, I said, this guy is the administrator of one of the Facebook groups, which had like hundreds of thousands of followers or members, right? So then they were really interested, and the Bangladeshi administrator had a Facebook page where there was a phone number. So I contacted him using that phone number, and he responded. We spoke in Bengali, and I did introduce me as a journalist, but I told him, what kind of services do you provide through your page? Like it was called JA's digital marketing or something, right? So what do you mean digital services? What kind of services do you provide? And he explained it to me in very detailed manner, that what he basically does is that he tries to manually boost Facebook pages likes through his large Facebook groups that he built around the convoy issues, right? So
Right.
then also he offered to do the same service to me in exchange for just a little bit of money. So and he indicated to me that he was actually doing the same thing for pro convoy protesters, in exchange for a charge or money. Yeah. So
Wow,
that was the
he's
story.
even hustling when he's talking to you, and you've already identified yourself as a journalist. Really,
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
working for that. They're really working
Yeah.
for that. They got the sales pitch down. They can't even stop it.
Yeah. Apparently.
So,
So yeah, so after the great news story was published, Facebook took actions against these groups. They removed the groups and they even banned the profile of the administrators.
now,
And but
how many groups were there at the time? These are these pro freedom. No, this is, to be clear. This is during the big freedom convoy protests in Canada, not those ones that were in DC recently. This was like that large convoy that literally was like shutting down. I think it was Ottawa at the time.
yes,
How many groups were there, and how many? I think you said one of them had like hundreds of thousands of
yeah,
members.
yeah. But
Wow.
there were a lot. There were a lot of groups. There were several, I think. But the group that I was talking about was one of the largest. Yeah.
And this was and that was the one that was being, at least one of them that was being run by this Bangladeshi marketing
Mhm.
group.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think that was a group per se, that was not a particularly formal entity. It was basically one person.
Okay,
And
so just a
yeah,
single internet marketer from Bangladesh,
yeah, yeah,
basically. And we should say, like, when we say Bangladeshi, we don't mean, someone of Bangladeshi background who's living in
yeah,
America.
yeah,
Like, this is someone
yeah,
living overseas.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so,
And yes, he was back home. And in fact, I contacted another admin who is also Bangladeshi, but he was living in Canada. And so I contacted him, and he's
ah,
like, I have no idea about this guy, the main person, the main character. His name is Shoykot, Jakir Shoykot. So he told me that I know Shoykot. He's from my, I know him from Bangladesh, but I didn't know he added me on these groups. And basically, I don't subscribe to this ideology. I myself voted for the Liberal Democrat, you know, and
so how is he
I
connected to it then? How was he connected to it?
he was just added as an co-admin of the group. He didn't realize, according to him, he didn't realize that it was
That's
it was
and
it
he
was.
claimed
I
to
mean,
not
he
know,
didn't pay attention.
and he
He
claimed not to
didn't
know
pay
the
any
person.
attention. Yes, he does.
Oh, he
He
knows the
knows
person.
the person. He knows the person. And in
Hmm.
fact, what he also told me was that that Shoykot from Bangladesh, he asked his assistants to get some money out of Canada to Bangladesh to his account. So
Whoa.
that was interesting. Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Now I
but
will say that
yeah,
that is the thing where, like, I've done reporting on these like Facebook internet marketing scams, people setting up groups or pages, and a lot of times this does actually happen where the internet marketer overseas, because there's some common names in various countries. Like, for example, in some countries, Mohammed's a very common name, and in
yeah,
Facebook, it starts to auto complete people. And I
yeah,
have come across times where I've reached out to people and they've been like, "Oh, I have no idea what this is. I was added to it and confused myself." And it's because the person behind the page or group was typing in someone they did know, and Facebook recommended someone with a similar name, or sometimes even the exact same name, but just it's a different person, obviously.
mhm,
And they add that person without realizing it's not the one they intended to. So that
mhm.
is
Yeah,
possible. Although in your specific situation, that person is claiming to know the person
yeah,
in
yeah,
Bangladesh. So
yeah.
that's where it gets a little bit sketchy to me. That's where I'm
Yes,
not so, yeah.
yes. He in fact, yes, I know it can be catchy, but maybe he's now concocting a new story. But I'm confident that they know each other. And he in fact told me the exact address of that guy, of the Bangladeshi guy who's living in Bangladesh. So that's it. So that was very interesting, but I could not proceed with the further investigating that, because he wouldn't share with me any of the details, or
Right.
of what kind of conversation that they had about the payment. So yeah.
Right. So,
So
so,
but
so, so let's
then
just, I just
what
want to make sure I have this straight so far. Because I think there's a lot that's, the different things that are going
Right.
to happen that they say that later change. But at this point, here's where we're at. So there's these Facebook groups that are set up by this internet marketer in Bangladesh. You talk to them. They're basically saying that, they provide these services, and they were basically contracted or hired to basically run this Facebook group. And it sounds like they're trying to make it seem like, they are doing this under the, as part of the Freedom Convoy in some way. Like they were contacted by the people running Freedom Convoy or protesters involved. And, this isn't they are officially connected to the what's going on in Canada.
Right, right. So yes, that was one thing. Uh, then Facebook took actions against these groups and the profiles. They sort of Facebook sort of removed them from their platform. But I kept searching for new groups, right? New groups, and whether still there, whether there is a trend, whether there were still Bangladeshi folks who were managing pro convoy groups.
Right.
And suddenly I detected that that there were every day there were new groups of Bangladeshi spammers running these groups popping up every day. But this time, their goals are completely different. They are not trying to direct people to donation websites or anywhere. They're basically sharing links to clothing stores, online clothing stores, and
Right.
which featured pro convoy merchandise, like T-shirts, mugs, and stuff.
Amazing.
So yeah, so but I wasn't sure about. I mean, it can be a scam, right? People, I didn't understand the gravity of the issue right away, but and I then realized there were like a lot of groups. Like I probably detected at least 7 groups. Um,
That
so
we're specifically
and
pushing merchandise.
merchandise, but I didn't yet understand that there was a connection, because I didn't understand that the all of these e-commerce online stores were actually managed by one single American company, or not managed per se, but powered or backed by one single American company.
Right. So you just thought at
So
this point, it's just different, these groups are. Did you know at this point that these groups were started by and run by people from outside, Canada or the US, or you didn't know that at this point?
Uh, and I did notice that there were administrators there, but there are some, Western administrators, but there are also some Bangladeshi administrators.
Or at least
That was,
Western profiles with Western sounding names, right?
yes, yes,
Yes.
yes. That's what I immediately thought. And I mean, I was particularly looking for groups which were managed by Bangladeshi ID,
Mm.
Bangladeshi accounts, and some of the even some of the Western accounts, Western sounding accounts, had Bangladeshi friends. So basically,
Right.
or followed by Bangladeshi accounts overwhelmingly, or
Right.
they were following Bangladeshi accounts.
Right.
So
Which
I then,
I should say, totally possible that a guy in
yeah.
Texas, Oklahoma, Alabama, even Ottawa, Canada, totally could have friends in Bangladesh, and vice versa. Bangladeshi people having friends in the U.S. and Canada. But for the purpose of your investigation,
Yeah,
it's definitely
yeah.
setting off red flags.
Yes, it was definitely setting off red flags. And almost everyone, every follower, everyone in their following list was Bangladeshi IDs. And also when I some of these accounts were locked, but some of those accounts were open, and they really did make some public posts. And when I scrolled down, then I said they also made Bengali posts, posts in Bengali language.
This
So
is
I
wait. These are
basically
the Western account, the Western sound.
Western accounts, some of their Western accounts.
Okay.
So
I mean, again,
then I
who knows?
figured.
Maybe they spent a semester over there and learned the language fluently in those few months.
Yeah,
Maybe, I don't know. But I'm sure
yeah,
again the alarms were ringing, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So basically, then I suspected that they were basically Bangladeshi accounts, but later they changed their names. So I some of the groups had the authentic Facebook profiles of Bangladeshi guys, and their profiles had their pages or other pages, or even their profile contained their phone numbers. Or when I went to the pages run by these groups, run by these individuals, their pages tended to have some contact details. So I contacted them right away, and one of them who picked my call was um, very co- like he was very out frank with me. He
Okay.
didn't hold back, and he's like, I said, why are you running pro convoy groups? What's the deal here? And to sell merchandise, t-shirts. How do you sell t-shirts from Bangladesh? I mean, you can definitely run like online retail stores, but you cannot simply from Bangladesh. It's extremely even extremely difficult to send and receive money from outside because of some regulatory difficulties. That I know for sure. So I think it's logistically impossible for you to run an online retail stores while you are in Bangladesh. So then I said, how do you manage? How did you manage to do that? Then they said, I have nothing to do with the logistical side of the business. I don't, there's this platform called Gear Launch, which actually does everything, and I am just a marketer basically. So now I was really in Gear Launch. I mean, where is the company based in? I asked him, and he said, it's probably an Indonesian company or American company. I have no idea. So
Let me ask you really quick. Did when you spoke
yeah,
to them, how many of the Bangladesh based internet marketers did you speak to?
I think five.
Did any of them know exactly what it was that they were, obviously for them it's just a money making thing. Obviously they're internet marketers just jumping on whatever they see as a trend. Is that a correct assessment of
Yeah,
them? Like none of them, they
yeah,
were fairly apolitical, at least when it came to American and Canadian
yeah.
politics.
Yes, I think so. I
So
think so. That was their sole motivation. I
right.
can say that confidently.
Did they have any idea what it was that they were selling? Like, did they understand that? Like, again, for people who don't know, people who watch this show probably do know, but just in case, the Freedom Convoy, was what it was called in Canada. It was basically, portrayed as a bunch of working class truckers angry over vaccine mandates, COVID vaccine mandates. But lo and behold, it turned out that it was really just an astroturfed sort of a movement where far right wing figures in Canada and even in the U.S. were basically putting money into this, backing it, and it was mostly like small business owners and right wing figures and the guys who owned the trucks and hired truckers, not so much the on the ground truckers, because something like 80+ percent of truckers in Canada were vaccinated to begin with when this
Mhm.
protest started. So it wouldn't make
Yeah.
sense for this to be like some mass uprising of the truckers when they're already vaccinated. So did they seem to have any idea what it was, or they just saw it trending on Google Trends or something and were like, this is
No,
the
no,
next thing?
they did.
Oh,
At least Syed did. The person that I first spoke to, or who spoke to me in very detailed manner, he seemed to know a lot of things.
oh,
He knew what's the problem here. He knew the vaccine problems. He knew the not the vaccine problems, the
the mandate
the
issues.
issues,
Yeah.
the issues with the vaccine mandate, and he knew about these things. He also knew about other major political issues like Black Lives Matter, or January 6th, I think.
Now, did he did
So
he have did he have did he have sympathies for any specific one, and that helped him decide which one to like which movement or which event to push? Like, if he, if he could have,
Hmm.
done like if like it was Black Lives Matter or a Freedom Convoy, did he choose the Freedom Convoy because that was, where
Hmm.
his politics lied? Like, generally right wing in,
I
right wing
see. I see what
politics.
you're saying. Yeah, I mean, uh, from a Bangladeshi context, I think it doesn't make any sense. Like the right wing politics in Bangladesh is completely different in um, I mean, there is no comparison between left wing and right wing politics in the US and Bangladesh. The issues simply just do not correspond, right?
Are
So,
there
right
issues with like COVID related conspiracies? Like is there like an anti vaccine sentiment over there, or
in Bangladesh, people are desperate to get vaccine. You know, right
right?
now it's fine. Now it's sort of managed, I would say. So the pressure has been managed, but I mean, there was a time people were desperate to find vaccines. So I don't think there is any, you know, I mean, Bangladesh is a country where other vaccines were tremendously successful, like polio or other stuff. So there is no basically, even if there is, I think that's inspired from the West and some of the you know the I think the size of these people who have some who have held conspirational views about vaccines will be very few, I think.
Very interesting. I was
Yeah,
wondering if, like, maybe they didn't care about the Freedom Convoy, but they were like, the general sentiment about the vaccine. They agreed with it or something. But I also was thinking, well, in a lot of countries like Bangladesh,
yeah,
the vaccine wasn't available for very long, and like,
yeah, yeah,
you hear about all these like developing nations that are basically
yeah, yeah,
again, I don't know the situation now in these countries. I'm sure it's different per country,
yeah,
but
yeah.
it seemed like they were completely the opposite. Where like
Yes,
here you got to
that
like
was
pay people to
yeah,
get a vaccine. Over
yeah,
there, it's
yeah.
like I bet they're on the streets like
That
begging
was
people and willing to
yes.
pay for the vaccine. Right? Yeah.
Yes, that was crazy. That was crazy. I mean, when these things were coming up in the US, I was in Bangladesh, I think. Yes, I was in Bangladesh in 2020, and I myself contracted COVID-19, and I I maintained complete, you know, sort of. I was confined into my house all the time. Even then, I contracted the virus. So there was no vaccine available at the time, and it was a ridiculous sight to see that people are, you know, spreading ridiculous lies about vaccine in the US, and people in developing countries like Bangladesh didn't have any vaccine, and they were like desperate, and the government was desperate. Everyone was desperate. So that sort of, I mean, in some way, this kind of nonsense is also um, sort of, you know, a byproduct of luxury. You know
Oh,
that.
absolutely. I mean, I'm sure when you were over in Bangladesh, there weren't people, throwing tantrums in stores because they were asked to wear a mask or something, right? I mean, it's just a whole different.
I mean, the mask problem. We couldn't enforce, proper mask mandate because we didn't have enough masks, or
Right.
people didn't afford to buy masks, or the government could not or did not spend public money to make enough masks available for people. So I think it's a completely different, completely stark situation, and it just sometimes it just enrages me that the fact that they can afford to decline vaccines, they can afford to decline health measures. It
Right. I
just
mean,
coming from a country that has struggled to find these things, it just enrages me sometimes.
I mean,
Sorry.
I could imagine now, especially with that background that you just told me, like, if you're an internet marketer in Bangladesh and you see this freedom convoy, you might as well be like, you know what? I'm gonna make some money off of these privileged mother effers, I'll show them,
Yeah.
Why not, right? I mean, it must have been an amazing sight and you said that a lot of the if not all five, but among the five, it seemed like they were very tuned in to what was going on in American politics and Canadian
Yeah.
politics, Western politics.
Western politics.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that just like they view that as part of the job, or was it beyond that? Like they were truly interested because just interested to see what was
I
going
mean,
on, or was it mainly as
I
part
mean,
of their like internet marketing work?
I think it's part of their internet marketing work because, uh, I mean, I saw on the official Gear Launch group where they were sort of providing guidance or techniques to do well in this business, and these marketers were advised to look for issues, sort of, for example, Mother's Day, and in this case they did provide. They were talking about innocuous issues like the Mother's Day, like you know Independence Day, or stuff like that. So
Oh, right, like
they
Western
were,
holidays and things like that.
yes,
Yeah.
Western holidays or things like that. So in and they were advised to target um, their marketing, come up with some designs, that would sort of be related to these holidays or some interesting events, and because that would sell well, because that would be relevant um, on these holidays or during other events. But what they also did was that they also found that political matters, political issues were more engaging, right? They produce more engagement and they sell very well. So
Right.
yeah,
Oh, did you find this is now you just gave me when you were telling me that how they were like, designing things for American holiday or Western holidays. They designed the Freedom Convoy stuff too? Or because yeah,
yeah,
they
yeah. I'm
did.
coming to that.
Oh my god,
No, they didn't.
that
They
is
didn't. They
fantastic. Oh, they
didn't.
didn't? They
No,
didn't?
sorry, they didn't. But I'm coming to that. They didn't, but they were supposed to. So the
Oh.
entire, this is the business. This is the entire POD industry is based on. POD means print on demand. It's now a huge industry. Like there are several companies that rely on this.
Right. For people
Rely
who
on
don't
this.
know, print on demand is basically,
Yeah,
traditionally you would have to buy bulk orders of shirts and they'd screen print them. And that, that's a process. It's a pretty,
yeah,
intense, lengthy process. I
yeah,
did some screen printing back when I went to school, and it's a lot of fun, but it takes a long time.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but with
So
print on
the
demand, it's basically you could order one custom shirt, and they at that moment just print that one custom shirt and ship it off. They don't wait for the bulk order to come in.
yeah. So these marketers, they were supposed to come up with designs. But what they often do is they steal other people's work, or there are many who sort of post their designs on Instagram per se, uh, for example, or there are some people, some real designers or artists who post their um, designs on their portfolio websites, or on Instagram or Facebook, and these marketers, they simply steal them, and that is why this entire beauty industry has been marred by a lot of copyright related um, scandals or controversies. But I think companies now can detect copyrighted materials using some software. But in this case, I think they simply downloaded photos from the internet and they used it. They are not like remarkably good, or they're like, these are like normal designs, normal slogans that they probably saw somewhere on social media, on Facebook, on Twitter, or
Right.
just searched on Google. And but so since their designs are not extraordinary, what they did was they sort of cashed in on the sympathies of conservative people, conservative members of their groups, right?
Right. And
See,
I don't know if you've seen some conservative T-shirt designs, but you don't need to be a great artist
right.
to sell them a T-shirt. Yeah.
Yeah, so yes, that was one of the one of the reasons for their success. They are like, buy these T-shirts, support the cause, support the movement. And so it was as if, they would mislead people that, as if they were connected to the movement, and as if buying these T-shirts or merchandise would somehow support the protesters on the ground. So, and I think they found enough gullible people to believe that, and they would buy these T-shirts. And we found uh, not not fewer than dozen, two dozen websites or online retail stores that were promoted by Bangladeshis on Pro Convoy Facebook groups, and all of these were um, basically powered or run by Year Launch, the same company.
How did you come across the e-commerce stores that were selling Freedom Convoy merch? Did you just look at the like did you just search on Gear Launch, or did you look like once you realized the number of them were on Gear Launch, did you just search like like using Gear Launch terms? I'm just trying to understand if
I see. I see.
you were
No,
just looking for Gear Launch stores, or like that was this they just all just happened to be like you did a general search and they just
I
all
did a
happened to
general
be.
search.
Okay, that's
I
because
did a
that's
general search.
interesting.
I just used the Facebook's Crowd Tangle software app, and I just searched for T-shirt and convoy, these keywords, and
Right,
all the T-shirt stuffs are uh, T-shirt websites are basically run by this company, by the same company. So
right.
yeah, that's how I found them.
Now before we went live, I was talking with you about, for me, I've come across this type of like Facebook internet marketer. Sometimes they're straight up scams. Sometimes it is like, let me ask you that first, actually. Do you know if this was? We're gonna get to more of what's involved soon, but were the stores legit in terms of if a conservative, if anyone decided to purchase a Freedom Convoy shirt, they would actually get it, or was this just like a scam?
No, I don't think that was a scam outright. I don't think that. I think Gale Launch is a very legitimate POD company. So people did get delivery of the products that they ordered. I don't think it's an outright scam,
Okay,
because I could confirm that these stores were actually powered by Gear Launch, and since these spammers do not control any logistical side of the business, so I assume that and since I know that Gear Launch manages that side of the business, like they process the payment, they make the delivery or shipment, they even produce the t-shirt, they even imprint the design once that t-shirt was is ordered. So I assume that that's legitimate. um so it's not totally a scam outright. Yeah.
okay, yeah, I think if obviously there's some ethical or disclosure issues with the groups, and obviously Facebook had a problem with the groups being
Mhm.
basically promotional for the convoy events. I'm sure Facebook didn't really care about the T-shirt selling, but
Mhm.
yeah, if someone pays for something and they get it, to me that's not a scam. They got what they paid for. But
Yeah.
before we went live, I was talking to you and I mentioned how like being in this world and covering some of this stuff in terms of like Facebook marketers and like the weird stuff they do. It wasn't completely surprising to find out that this was like those groups were created strictly with a profit motive to sell T-shirts, even by people overseas. I mean, it is a little bit extra fascinating to me, being that these Freedom Convoy groups blew up. Did they? That's another question. Let me ask you that too. Were they ready for how big those groups got? Like this must have been their most successful campaign yet. I did they were they expecting those groups to actually become like major hubs for that movement? Did you talk with them about that at all?
Mhm. um I mean, they did expect that the issue will be um, will generate a lot of interest and engagement, and they did understand that it has the potential uh, for them to boost their sales. So but I don't think. I mean, to be fair here, uh, the pro convoy groups run by Bangladeshi spammers were not necessarily the biggest, like um, biggest platform for the real protesters or real conservative folks. Uh, but they did have significant membership.
Right.
And initially, the one that we are talking about, the Jakir Shoykot, the one that Jakir Shoykot managed, it was a huge group. It had like the last time I saw it, it had more than 150,000 members.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, but after that, I mean, the gear launch connected groups they had around, their membership was limited to tens of thousands of
Right.
people.
That's still
Yeah,
incredible for a group. I mean,
yeah, and I think Facebook sort of implemented a system that whenever their system found that pro convoy groups were run by someone who was not from the US or Canada, or then they sort of automatically deleted them. That's what I think, because after a while, after they reached a certain, after they sort of attracted a certain number of people as their members, these groups were deleted. So,
right.
but before, I mean, whatever they wanted to do, I guess they did it before
Right.
the deletion was triggered.
Because I
Yeah.
almost feel like there could be like there's a comedy movie here where a Bangladeshi sets up a Facebook group to sell some T-shirts, and the next thing they know, they're the main hub for a major right wing movement that's shutting down like complete states and countries. Like that's fascinating. So what I was saying before was, we were talking before we went live, and I shared my thoughts about the group, the Facebook group part of it. But I was truly amazed. We did not see this coming for this next part of the story. It's like, swerve number one, like big reveal number one, Bangladeshi internet marketers are behind some of the biggest trucker convoy groups on Facebook, or were behind some of the biggest trucker convoy groups on Facebook. Now, big reveal number two is this company Gear Launch appears to have done more than just, what you would assume they would do. Just you press a button, launch a store, and they print up T-shirts without knowing what's going on. It seems like, excuse me, it seems like there was more to it than just that.
Yeah. Yes. They have a point person in Bangladesh. So he, his his name is Belal, and he's a Bangladeshi, and uh, he's sort of connected to their launch. But when we began our investigation, we were not sure whether he was directly affiliated with the company, or he's just being a trainer, or he's just training people and getting some money. We were not certain about that part, but then we noticed that that guy has a gear launch official email, and the group that he managed, the gear launch Bangladesh group, was also administered by other you know gear launch officials, including the official page of Gear Launch. So then we became certain that he is directly related to Gear Launch. And then after we sent a list of questions to Gear Launch officially for their comments, the Bangladeshi guy removed the problematic YouTube videos or training videos that he made, or tutorial videos that he made for his Bangladeshi users or marketers. Then we were certain that Gear Launch and that Bangladeshi guy has a very solid and very official connection. And that guy was sort of training people to use fake, Western sounding Facebook accounts to create Facebook groups. And he was also sort of encouraging people, encouraging Bangladeshi marketers to cash in on right wing materials. And for example, he said Donald Trump was the hottest product in America right now.
Donald Trump,
So,
you said? Donald Trump is the.
yeah,
Wow,
I mean,
that's.
he didn't say that explicitly, but he was showing a slide of his presentation to
Mm.
Bangladeshi users that he was training, or so so sort of
So I just want to make sure I have this
yeah,
straight so far. So we got a person based in Bangladesh who is like a country marketing manager. You said is the title,
yeah, yeah, country
and,
manager, I think.
and
Yeah.
you were able to trace that this isn't just some guy or affiliate or third party. He's got an official gear launch email address,
Mhm.
which means they hired him in some way and gave him an official email address to officially represent the company, and he's explicitly promoting marketing techniques to potential gear launch sellers,
Right.
and these marketing techniques include telling them to get on the right wing merchandise train, hop aboard the right wing merchandise train.
Uh-huh. Sort of, yes.
Did it
Yeah,
also did
that's
it
what he was
also did it also tell them about creating Facebook groups and pretending to be part of these movements, or was there anything
no,
about those tactics?
he wasn't he wasn't sort of explicit about that. But another similar marketer who I spoke to told me that there was no reason that he wouldn't know about this, because he was running, and the gear launch didn't know about this because they did nothing to uh, you know prevent the misuse of these issues. In fact, even after we sent questions, and I think I didn't check now, but I think even after we published this story, they didn't really remove any of the online stores that were promoting pro convoy materials. So there is no question that they didn't know. So they basically knew about this practice, and they basically didn't take any actions about that. And their Bangladeshi point person was basically encouraging people, Bangladeshi marketers or spammers, to use right wing issues to boost their sales.
That's amazing. Like, listen, I understand that if you run a print on demand company, and you want to, you just want to be apolitical and not take a side, you print up whatever comes at your, whatever is organically thrown at you, whatever the customers want. But the idea that
Right.
they were explicitly saying, like, this is the stuff you should look at and consider, selling if you want to, increase your sales or sell a lot. That to me is very interesting. And especially they're not saying that to, like, it's one thing if they sent Gear Launch sent like a marketing manager to, like, the Conservative Political Action Conference, like CPAC, and they were like, if you want to sell Trump merch, that makes sense. But they're telling people in a completely other country to sell American politics right wing shirts and memorabilia and souvenirs, and that's
Yeah.
amazing. That's now, did anything come from this on Gear Launch's side? Do you know if I mean, I recall seeing in your piece that they never, replied to or anything. But do you know if that, like, marketing manager is still working with the company, or was there any fallout on their side from this?
I don't think there is. I don't think there is. They didn't remove any of the sites, and they didn't. And I think so. There is this interesting conversation uh, that happened. So I contacted that Bangladeshi manager, right? Through that country manager, and first I contacted his company, and his wife picked my phone because his wife also works for the company. His
Mm.
own company. It's like his private company, private thing. And then I said I'm a journalist and I need to interview him. And she was like, okay. And where did you get my number from? Then I said, I contacted him, company. Like, they have a group of internet entrepreneurs in Dhaka, so I got the contact from there. And then I explained to her, and he said, okay. So he then texted me the number of her husband, which is the manager. And using that number, I called him. He didn't pick me, and it was after he removed the YouTube video. That means he was already alerted by Gear Launch, right?
Right.
So then I contacted the original number, which I got, which was previously responded to by his wife, and this time he picked up. But I because I knew his voice. I mean I listened to hours of his tutorials, so I really I really recognized his voice, right? And he could see that it was an international number, and when I asked him, hello, Mr. Belal, are you Mr. Belal? I am a journalist from the U.S., San Francisco. He's like, no, 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 it's actually wrong number. I'm not Belal or something. So he was basically prepared for me. He knew that I would contact him, and
Right.
he was sort of instructed, I think, that to not talk to me at all. So I think no, there has been no fallout for him, and that's because what I think is uh, he didn't act like it was not his random choice. Basically, it has been um, tolerated within the company, and so they cannot simply blame him for this.
Right. How big is this company, Gear Launch? Like, are they a major print on demand company? I actually had not heard of them, but I wonder if
Yeah.
they're just big in like
So
in certain
I
countries,
mean,
maybe.
yes, they are not. They are not a very big company, but they're pretty well known within the industry because I contacted others and they could recognize the company, and they have, according to their you know press releases, they sell uh, over 100 millions of worth products every year. So they're pretty large. They also amassed several millions of dollars as investment. So I think they're not a huge company, but they're pretty well known within the industry.
Right. So you watched enough of these marketing videos from Gear Launch, where I mean, you could probably launch your own Freedom Convoy store tomorrow and sell some merch. So, oh yeah, what happened to these stores that the Bangladeshi marketers started? Where
I
like
mean, that's what I was saying. They were not removed. They are continuing. And some of these
selling
stores,
Freedom
basically,
Convoy stuff?
I mean, some of them still are. And some of the stores were um, sort of also sort of reoriented their focus. They sort of shifted their focus. And at least I found two or three stores that are now selling Ukrainian stuff.
Oh wow, that's. I mean, there you go. There it is
Yeah,
right there. Hopping from one major event to another, right? I mean,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
uh, internet. That's the internet, baby, right? I mean, it's all about that. How much money you can make on those e-commerce sites, or I'm sure they're probably also got like fake news websites with advertising on them, and probably running the whole shebang. That's amazing. Um,
uh, yeah.
no, go ahead.
So yeah, one of the reasons why they resorted to this practice to use political issues is that they're supposed to run ads to marketize their products. I mean, so basically in this print on demand system, uh, the people who do better are the ones who are supposedly uh, can create designs like unique and interesting designs that would sell well, right? And also those who have or who already have an audience, like Facebook, celebrity, or who has large following on Twitter or other social media, right? Because they already have a following and they can sell their products to them ideally. But but otherwise, if you do not have a like large following on social media, you are supposed to run ads. But running ads is like, is sort of costly, and it is not really very practical uh, from their business perspectives. So that is precisely why uh, they are focusing on hot button issues that will sort of create organic engagement and activities, and sort of that would enable or allow them to not use ad dollars or ad money, not spend any money, but you know, sort of capitalize on the existing explosive issues.
Right. Oh, so they weren't running any ads on Facebook, were they? Not even
No,
not even for the group itself to get like likes or followers or members.
I don't think so.
So wow,
I don't
so
think
it was strictly, I guess, they got in really early and made a group
so.
that just had a very
Yeah,
generic keyword, like
yeah,
Freedom Convoy group. Like,
yes, 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 precisely. That's what.
wow, damn. So these guys,
And
these guys
yes,
in
they were.
Bangladesh even faster than the people experiencing these things. I mean,
Yes, yes, they were.
amazing.
They literally were. And what they did was, uh, in the beginning, they sort of shared already viral pro convoy stuff. Like they were stealing other people's, not stealing per se, but they were copying other people's status, or Twitter tweets, or viral memes, because and they were sort of uh, posting them on their groups. And since these memes or posts are already viral, already popular, they knew that the same materials would be popular among their future members as well. So they sort of shared the existing viral or potentially uh, engaging or interesting memes and content on their groups, which also helped them land more members.
That's really interesting. Wow. I assume they did some like paid marketing to get those groups attention, but they got in early and knew what they were doing to like game the system like organically.
Yeah, yeah, sort of, yeah. Yeah.
So is there anything else that we didn't cover? Because I'm trying to think. I think this is incredible work. Honestly, like you really dove
Thank you.
in, and like some people might have uncovered the Facebook groups and been like that's where it stops, and then you went further though, and you found just how integrated Gear Launch was in promoting and not promoting in telling these Bangladeshi marketers how to go about finding what things they should what events they should sell merchandise for.
Yeah, yeah. That's I think that's precisely what happened.
Now, is there anything you have coming up that you'd like to promote or let people know where they could find you online? Next article that feel free to.
No,
No, no,
thanks.
just
Thanks. I mean, no. At this point, I'm a graduate student at UC Berkeley, um, so I don't have any story coming up right now
so where can
because
people find you online?
yes, I can be contacted or found on Twitter at the underscore Nazmul. So that's my Twitter handle and username. So I think that's where I can be found. Thank you, Matt, and everyone who is watching.
Perfect.
And
Journalist and graduate student at UC Berkeley, Nazmul Ahasan. This was really great. Thank you so much. Have a great night.
thank you very much, Matt.
Take care.
Take care.
All right, folks, let's jump to the second half of the show. I think this was just, that whole again, I wasn't so shocked at all by the idea that uh there were these internet marketers pushing at least some of literally any movement, any whether it be, Black Lives Matter or another left leaning movement, or Freedom Convoy, another right wing, right leaning movement. Although, as you heard from Nazmul, and also just generally, just from experience, you could probably tell that there's way more money in that type of stuff on the right. I mean, it's called the right-wing grift for a reason. But the right-wing grift is technically when right-wingers get in on their own followers for money-making reasons. Like there's an ideological thing there. These were just people who were like, hey, we got some marks. We got some dupes. We got an audience here. We got potential customer base here. Let's dive right in and sell them some merch. Fascinating stuff. Folks, patreon.com/Matt Binder to support this show. If you've ever taken a gander over at Patreon, the Patreon page, you'll see that I have a goal that will get us to a very good place in terms of creating more content, bringing people on board. And we are literally tiptoeing. Sometimes maybe even at a snail's pace, but we are tiptoeing closer and closer. A tiptoeing snail. Yes, that's right. To that, to that first goal. If you guys could help me get about 150 more patrons, we would get there so quick. We could do it. If you could support this show financially, become a patron subscriber, patreon.com/Matt Binder, I'd appreciate it immensely. And to the people who have supported this show, let me shout out the most recent patrons. We got Todd G, Kate B, Will C, Daniel F.W., Bill T, Adrian L, Dylan, Scott W.J., Sleep Zerker, Brandon, David V, Drew, and Venus Bloodflow. Those were some of the most recent patrons. And I'm just, for the hell of it, I'm just going to shout out some old-time patrons. Let's see. We got NS, Jack C, Daniel S, Dragon Slayer, Michael B, Josh B, Christine H, David K, Max W, User Me, Michael J, Alan B, Benji A, Jacob W, and Mr. Danks. That's just a few people that I just decided to go back to the old timers and give some shout outs. How about next week, next episode of Dooms, maybe even on Scam Economy, I'll shout out some other random long-time patrons. Thank you all, seriously, though, so much. Also, youtube.com/Matt Binder. Drop a super chat. I will read the super chats in the second half of the show. Twitch.tv, subscribe to the YouTube channel, too, by the way. We just passed 18,000 subscribers. What else? Twitch.tv/Matt Binder. Follow me on there. We're almost at the 2,000 subscriber mark on Twitch. Follower mark, I should say, because subscribers is something else on Twitch. Speaking of Twitch subscribers, though, if you are a Amazon Prime subscriber, you get a free Twitch Prime subscription every month. It comes along with your Amazon Prime payment. You basically get free Twitch bucks to give to me. I like to say you're like Robin Hood. You're stealing from Jeff Bezos and you're lining my pockets. Again, no extra cost to you. If you're a patron, you can and subscribe to Amazon Prime. You can subscribe to me on Twitch with your Twitch Prime subscription and give me extra. If you're not a patron, that's a great way to give me money because it costs you nothing extra if you're an Amazon Prime member. So yeah. Also, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. Subscribe to Doomed and my other show, Scam Economy, on those platforms if you like listening to the audio version of the show. And you know what? If you watch the video version, why not subscribe to the audio version too and help pump my numbers there? Also, leave a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify for Doomed. Do it for Scam Economy. If you've left one for one but not the other, then go there and do it for the other. It's a big help, truly, to leave reviews. It certainly, I can see a difference in download numbers and such. when I get an influx of new reviews, because Apple Podcasts, Spotify push you up the charts and the rankings. More people discover the show. Boom, bada bing. Get a bigger audience. You like that? Boom, bada bing. Uh, Follow me on Twitter at Matt Binder, Instagram at Matt Binder, wherever you listen to, wherever you're on social media, just search Matt Binder. I'm there. I think that's all for now. Am I forgetting anything? I don't think so. But we will now go to the second half of the show. And by the way, what we'll be talking about in the second half, we'll be taking your calls. Open up Skype, and you could call me on Skype. So I'll take your calls via Skype. Doomed Live, just search Doomed Live on Skype. I will take your calls. Also, again, I'll be reading super chats on YouTube. And I'll be talking about how I made it onto the Steven Crowder show, Louder with Crowder, today. I wasn't live on it, but if you'll recall, last week, my guest, Steve Monticelli, showed up at a college campus where Steven Crowder was at and did a debate with him. Steven, he recorded the audio, but it wasn't the greatest audio. But Steven Crowder recorded the video and released it today. And they did a lot of work to really try to, own Steven Monticelli, because I guess he couldn't let the debate speak for itself. And apparently, Steven Crowder's producers, or maybe Steven Crowder himself, are big fans of Doomed with Matt Binder. And they took a clip from the Steven Monticelli interview from last week, and they aired it in the video on Steven Crowder's YouTube channel, which has more than 5 million subscribers. So, Steven Crowder, or Steven Crowder's producers, if you're watching, thank you for being a fan of the show. I appreciate the support. I appreciate the shout out to your millions of subscribers. They all flooded that Steven Monticelli interview and gave it a lot of extra views, tons of extra comments, and probably helped bump it up via the YouTube algorithm. Love that engagement, baby. Thank you so much, Crowder supporters. What are you guys called again? The Mug Club. Thank you, Mug Club. Check out that interview, by the way. Doomedcast.com for the audio version, and just youtube.com/Matt Binder for the video. It was a great interview last week. All right, folks, going to the second half of the show. Patreon.com/Matt Binder. Once again, if you're watching on the live stream or you're a patron, stick around. For everybody else catching, the audio replay or the podcast version of the show, I will see you all next time on Doomed. Hello, everybody. We are back. We are back on Doomed with Matt Binder. Listeners are now going over to the listeners are now going over to the Stephen Monticelli stream from last week and discovering the flood of comments that have poured into that live stream. Let's oh, I didn't switch over. I didn't open the let me open that. Let's get to that one. Let's do that video right now. Might as well, right? Let's do it. Where is it? All right, here's the video. Let's go to picture.
Thank you so much.
Well, this is not the video I want. This is from last week. All right, so
here's a PubMed, NCBI, and like this is a medical journal. So I mean, like,
hold on a second. Let me actually. Hold on a second. You know what?
All right, so I'm not gonna play this whole 21-minute clip of Steven Crowder debating Stephen Monticelli, my guest last week, because Steven Crowder does a lot of extra work talking about this debate they had, because I guess he couldn't let the debate speak for itself. He really dove into Stephen Monticelli's background and tried to paint Stephen Monticelli to his audience as, more than just what the debate would have told them, I guess. But I will point out this. If you fast forward through this, and you get to around the end of the video, here we go. All right, let's see if you notice something.
That's long form for professional journalist.
So I mean, he pulled out some statistics.
But what kind of behavior would you
There I am, right on Steven Crowder's channel, baby. There I am, and to really show you guys, so you could see the full thing of it, the whole. Let me pull the thing with. Here it is. Here it is, as seen on his channel. And that was earlier today, 88,000 views. Who knows how much it has now? I haven't checked. But yeah, baby. Steven Crowder, big fan of Doom with Matt Binder. I understand. He knew Stephen Monticelli was on. Also, his producer was very angry. One of his producers was very, very angry that I was pretending that Crowder was a fan of mine. So, he posted this. Smug hotshot Zeddy sat down and tried to dox Crowder's vehicle afterward. All we did was track him. I still don't know who this guy with the little YouTube channel is or why this is considered a win for him. He's talking about me, obviously. To which I replied, because by the way, I was like, totally, this was my original tweet, by the way, for people who want to know what he's talking about to begin with. I tweeted this at first. So Steven Crowder just released his college campus debate with Stephen Monticelli, and folks, Crowder watches my YouTube channel, confirmed. And then, and then this was my reply to his producer. I quote tweeted that thing where he said, "I don't know who this guy is with the little YouTube channel." And I went, huge! Steven Crowder, producer, confirms he is a big fan of the show. And so, really weird. The producer then goes ahead and and takes a screenshot of that same tweet again, posts it, and says to me, he says, "Who are you again?" And now I don't get why he had to screenshot his previous tweet. I don't get that, but he did. And he says, "Who are you again?" to me. And so I replied. Where is it? All right, here it is. So I reply, "I'm the guy who appears in Steven Crowder's latest video." I mean, it's so weird. How are you going to pretend? Like, listen, first of all, the joke is totally going over their head. I mean, I understand what makes a Steven Crowder fan now. I mean, because this is the gist of the replies I was receiving from his fans, by the way, just to give you, just so you understand what we're dealing with here. His fans were basically replying to me when I said, "Huge Steven Crowder's producer confirms he's a big fan of the show," and one of Crowder's fans replies, "That's not what he said." So I understand that they don't get what jokes are. They are fans of Crowder, but it's so funny how it just goes over their head. They really think that, but it's also a weird place to stake. Like, whether it doesn't matter. You put me in Steven Crowder's video, so you came across me. You found my video. You took the time to rip it and edit it into your clip. So just to pretend like you don't know who I am. I mean, you know who I am in the sense, of the very least, you just found my channel and cut me into his video. Oh boy. But that was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with that today. What should we do? Oh, let me pull up the phone lines, and then I'll read some super chats, and we'll have a jolly good time on this show. Give me a second here. Doomed Live, signing in right now. Bop, bop, bop. Bop, bada, bop, bada, bop. Skype is logging in, and I am on. Call in right now, Doomed Live. Let's do this. Let's read some super chats while we wait for some calls. MJM2 with a $20 super chat. Whoa, thank you. Thank you for another great interview, MJM2 says. Wow. I appreciate that. Truly. Amazing. Renee with the super chat. You'd think Thailand would be more the market. Oh, for the Bangladesh makes sense too, for the internet marketer strategists. Dragon Slayer 19 with a $10 super chat. When will the audio drop of Binder Dad making excuses for why you can't show up to a debate because of sudden onset twins and maybe heart surgery? For those who don't know what that's referring to, that is what basically was the reasoning for Steven Crowder being unable to debate Ethan Klein when he suspected Sam Seder might jump onto the debate live stream, which did eventually happen, but at a later date when Steven Crowder thought that Sam wasn't going to be able to do that because the Majority Report pre-recorded their show. Specifically so, Crowder would think they were live and he would agree to debate Ethan Klein, thinking Sam was unavailable to jump on. Incredible. I'll never forget it. It is incredible. Oh, let me thank, we got some Twitch Prime subscribers now. DM3689, thank you so much. Danny from the Vale, or the Val, thank you so much. Zachamania, thank you. Sierra Hudson, thank you so much for the Twitch Prime subscriptions. Timbob underscore RN, Nug Wrangler, thank you all so much. Tiny Panda 3, these were from a few days ago, but after the last episode of Doom, some of them, so I wanted to make sure I shouted them out too. Thank you so much. Jeez. All the love. I'm feeling the love. Thank you all so much. Let's see. What should we talk about? Should I pull up another clip? Did I grab that other clip I wanted? I did not. Uh-oh. All right, someone want to, if anyone wants to call in, I'll take your call. And if not, okay. I'll just randomly, I guess, look at some shit online, and we'll have some fun with clips. Oh, this is all right. Let's. Let me do this, because this is ridiculous. Ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Where did I go? Here I am. Oh no, you could see. How is that even possible? I gotta fix that. All right, there we go. Now you can't see the you could have seen where my green screen ended for a second, but not anymore. Not anymore. All right, let's do this. So my buddy Michael Tracy. For those who don't remember, I had a debate with Michael Tracy last year about COVID-19 mandates on college campuses. He was very critical of them. I said, maybe you could be critical of them, but what did the experts say in your reporting on the matter? Because he traveled to a few different college campuses, at least one college campus he traveled to. I believe he went to more than one. So I said, oh, so, you did the work. You went to the college campuses. What did the public health officials and medical experts say about whether these, college campus COVID policies, did they agree they were, over the top and overreaching? Did they think they were necessary? And his reply was that he didn't think it was important to ask any public health officials or medical experts what they thought of these health policies. Michael Tracy, just roving journalist, those are his credentials, his opinion on health matters and public health was enough. That was interesting to me. But I appreciated, like I said to him, and like I say to everyone who engages, I appreciated the discussion with Michael, and he took the time to engage, and we had an interesting talk, and I appreciated that. But Michael is out there now, criticizing the ACLU for seemingly focusing on trans rights issues. I'm not quite sure why that's his hang-up. For example, according to Mr. Tracy, he tweeted the ACLU of yesterday versus the ACLU of today. And in that tweet is the screenshot that he included. And this, I presume, is the ACLU of yesterday. Let's zoom out a little bit so we can see what it is he's talking about. What is the ACLU of yesterday? So for Michael, the ACLU of yesterday is ACLU says military action in Iraq without congressional approval would be unconstitutional. Another one is ACL releases files on civilian casualties in Afghanistan and Iraq. Another one is new information about CIA extraordinary rendition program highlights need for transparency, accountability. Another one's why the U.S. war on ISIS is illegal. And I'm assuming he wants us to look at the dates, and these debates show 2002, 2007, 2013, etc. Yesterday, yesteryear. That was the ACLU of yesteryear. Well, here is the point he's making. This is the ACLU of today. Here's that screenshot. Tough Conversations with Peppermint, your guide to talking about attacks on trans youth. I'm guessing this is a video series about, the attacks on young transgender people across this country. As you know, a number of states are literally trying to take trans youth away from their supportive families, alleging that, recognizing their transgender identities is akin to child abuse, which I don't know if you ask me, it's quite the opposite. I mean, if you have a trans child and you refuse to recognize them by the gender they identify as, to me, that's child abuse, not when you actually are supportive and loving and caring and actually, do things to help your transgender child. That to me is not child abuse, but what do I know? I'm not a Texan or Iowan or what's another state? Alabaman? Who knows? What is Alabama people even call Alabaman? I don't even know. But I guess laws trying to break up families with transgender children, I guess to Michael Tracy, that's not a very important civil rights issue. What do I know? What do I know? But I wanted to see if Michael's his assessment of the situation was even accurate. Because to me, it didn't really. I was like, what? I was like, that doesn't really make sense. So I went ahead and I went to the ACLU's website, the same press area where Michael Tracy pulled these links to their press releases, again, from yesteryear, back in 2002 and 2007, back in the early aughts, when they cared about the real civil rights issues and they didn't spend waste any time on these silly transgender rights issues, right? Right? Wait. Huh? What's this? Huh? September 13th, 2000. ACLU of Hawaii represents transsexual canoeist in fight over gender. October 23, 2000. ACLU files civil rights case against Winn-Dixie stores for firing trucker who cross-dresses away from work. June 26, 2001. Latino AIDS agency evicted because transgender clients used wrong bathroom. ACLU charges in New York lawsuit. January 6, 2001. Looks like there was a press release in Espanol of that previous one I read. Here's another one. January 17th, 2002. Public school rightly gave separate restroom access to anti-transgender teacher. ACLU says. Winn-Dixie, January 23rd, 2002. Winn-Dixie admits firing man for cross-dressing off-duty. ACLU asks federal court to rule without holding trial. June 20th, 2002. Federal appeals court rejects school teacher's lawsuit seeking to keep transgender employee from bathrooms. September 17th, 2002. ACLU criticizes decision in Louisiana transgendered case. January 16th, 2003. We're just getting 2003 now. This is in order on the ACLU press page. Judge's ruling favors Latino AIDS agency in transgender discrimination suit. And that's all that could fit in that screenshot that I sent to Michael Tracy. Shockingly, the ACLU is doing what they always did, and that's care about civil rights issues, including civil rights issues pertaining to transgender people Because guess what? The ACLU has always done that. Unbelievable. Literally, he had to go to the press page to fucking research this. There's literally a drop-down menu on the ACLU search page. Let me go to it. Let's go to it. ACLU press releases. I'll show you what I did. You could literally, right here, issue area, LGBTQ rights, transgender rights. We can remove these other terms. That will be, the search term, I should say. And sort it by oldest first. Sort. There you have it. There you have it. I mean, he had to go here to literally pull up the ones he did. Well, what do I know? I talk to experts. Let's go to... there was another one I wanted to pull from my... I can't find it now. Let's just go back. There was a caller. My bad. I had to hang up on you because I wanted to finish my point there. If the caller wants to call back in, letting them know they can feel free to call back in. Here we go. Multiple callers at once. Let's do it. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, my name's Cameron Robson. I'm calling from Moncton, New Brunswick.
Hey, Cameron, you look familiar. You've called in before. Can I pull you up on the feed?
I called in a couple times before. I called in to talk about trucks, and I called in to talk about some crypto that I think I at the time thought I got scammed. And I know this isn't your crypto show, but
can I pull you up on the feed? Is that cool? Your video?
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I always like to check some people. So you invested in the what was it? The cherry crypto, the honey nut cryptos. What was it again?
It was just they were just called cryptos, but when I looked at the box, it kind of looked like that maybe someone had just written over like the logo of a Cheerios box, and
so you got serial pulled, I guess we could call it, right?
Well, I think I got rug pulled, and that's exactly what I wanted to call in about. Sorry, I got my mask on because I just got COVID, but
oh, you did? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna.
I hope you get better ASAP.
Anyway, I wanted to get to the rug poll. Yeah, I wasn't able to try. I did a little bit of investigating.
Oh.
And I wasn't able to track down the guys. Well, I was sort of, but not I wasn't able to locate who the actual guys were and what they did so I didn't get my money back. Oh. But I'm excited to tell you that I did find the rug that they used to pull out from under me.
You're making me choke. You're making me choke here.
I double checked it, triple checked it, and I just wanted to. I don't mean to, but I'm gonna do a little plug. You're going to be able to soon get one of a limited number of NFTs of this rug.
Nice.
So you'll be able to invest in, and I'll be posting the links.
It is a nice rug.
Those
if I was gonna get rug pulled, I'd want it to be a nice rug at the very least.
Huh? Oh, it's kind of filthy.
It's a little bit dirty, I guess, but it's a nice one. It's a nice rug. Thanks for calling in. Always a pleasure. You got anything else, or you just wanted to let me know?
No, that's it. That's all the information I wanted to promote.
Beautiful, beautiful. Let me know on the next crypto show too how the NFT project's going.
Yeah, I'll let you know. I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around it, but I've got a couple guys telling me what to do.
Ooh.
And they seem trustworthy.
Okay, I'm sure they do. Have a great night.
Yeah, good night. Right.
They seem trustworthy. That was a nice touch. That was even funnier than the rug pull. Someone else called in. If you wanna call back in, I'll let you know right now. All right. Oh, here you are. Hey, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey Matt, it's Zach.
Oh wait, hold on. Your audio is very very muffled. So something's there. We go. You just whatever you just did. I think that fixed it.
Is that better?
Much better. But I lost your video now.
That's cool. That's cool. I was in. That's all I was.
So what
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yeah. What was it to talk about? Okay, your video came back. Can I pull you up on the feed, or you rather not?
Okay. Sure. Yeah.
You don't have to. That's why I ask. But you're cool with it.
All right. No, I'm good.
There you are. So what's
I
up?
was just. I had called last week and we had talked about the elephant hanging, and it and just kind of going off of the first couple of minutes of your second half. I get really interested in right wing lunacy. I think we've talked a bit about it. So I'm gonna shut the door here. We're having quiet time. Anyway, we're always gonna be fighting these battles on right wing territory. I mean, is this just going to be constant? Because this bathroom and transgender, to me, it's nonsense. I know it's an important issue, and it really affects the lives of a lot of people.
No, I get what you're saying. It is absolutely nonsense
It's
for it
just,
to be an issue. For it to be an issue. Obviously, it's
yeah,
not nonsense that they're doing this. We have
no,
to pay full attention to it because they're doing it. But in a perfect world, this wouldn't be an issue. I mean, trans people would use the bathroom of their matching gender identity, and no one would
right.
complain because we're all adults here. And it's just absurd that it would be an issue.
Well, this goes back to in 2016 over. I live near the state line of North Carolina, and back in 2016 they passed this bathroom bill. It was called HB2, and it led to some pretty big Democratic gains as the NBA pulled their All-Star game out of Charlotte, and a bunch of concerts got canceled in North Carolina. Pearl Jam canceled a couple of shows. A few other groups, also pulled out. And I just wonder if this if the fight over trans rights is going to be if they're going to slap themselves in, like trying to trying to flip a rubber band at somebody, but it hitting you instead. I don't know. It's constant right wing.
I mean, this is just this to them is a really easy issue for them for them to get a culture war win, because sadly we're probably where we were in, like, I don't know, the mid 2000s, where we were with like same sex marriage equality.
Right.
We're probably there for trans rights issues. Trans rights are not as widely accepted in this country, sadly enough, right now. Again, I'm saying give it, I mean, trans people don't have the years to give it, I'm sure. But in terms of it being a winning issue, where trans rights are just seen by the majority of people as just basic civil rights, it's gonna, we will get there. Obviously, I mean, and it may.
Here in East here in East Tennessee, which is like I described to you a couple times, where it's just rock rib, right wing. I don't use the term
Right, but what is
conservative.
how do people where you are view gay or lesbian people or gay or lesbian couples? Like I'm sure they're not like fully accepted and like they're not like I'm sure there's a
Right.
lot of bigotry there still and in various other parts of the country, but it's not like
Yeah.
as like oh my god what is that they just at maybe they
It,
ignore or I'm sure there are obviously still issues where they get harassed or civil rights that get trampled, but for the for
sure.
it's I would say you probably noticed it's been more accepted over the years, correct?
Gay and the gay and lesbian community, and that was I'm going to go back to the 90s when it was just kind of called the gay and lesbian community, had a pretty nice um, home in the community of Johnson City. It was pretty accepting, and this is kind of why I go back to Fox News and the link, the point where everything diverged in '96 when Fox News came on the scene. Up until the nine through the '90s, the gay and lesbian community had a very nice, as nice as could be, peaceful existence in Johnson City. That's the home of East Tennessee State University, and now it's you see as I talk about, you see hateful bumper stickers, you see these stick family bumper stickers that proclaim that's the way that God wants you to live. There's a lot of religious doctrine, although church attendance is drastically declined in this area, which is cognitively dissonant, as they say. There's so much religious zeal behind this bigotry, but people around here aren't as spiritual or as religious as they used to be, which is one of the problems. I heard somebody on the majority report. They didn't use this term this was not their own words, but they used the term icky. And I think that a lot of people where I live, and I'm speaking kind of from a rural perspective, think of anything related to gay, lesbian, trans, queer, non-binary as icky, and they just don't like to talk about it. And it's 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 instead of doing things that would bring a material benefit to our state, our area, our state, our schools, they've spent all their time into this book, into uh, this actual cancel culture. It's and I'm not expecting any political wins in Tennessee, but I'm hoping that maybe some of this will have a negative impact on North Carolina, because that's actually if we could if we had won North Carolina, we could have made Joe Manchin irrelevant. I know that's kind of like a jump. I'm kind of jumping on topic. I get a little nervous, but so I hate that we're always fighting these battles that the right wing picks the topic. They, like I said, they kind of take one story, like this swimmer, Lee I can't remember the
Leah
young lady's
Thomas, yeah,
last
yeah.
name, but Leah Thomas, and they ascribe the qualities of that one story up to the entire quote left, and that includes, the left includes everybody from uh, Ayanna Pressley to Joe Biden. It's which is ridiculous because those people don't even occupy the same space. So
Right.
these they just get taken a lot of time through AstroTurf means and then seeded and then it sometimes it can have a negative. By negative, I mean negative to the right wing impact, like it did with North Carolina in 2016. It actually got a Democratic governor elected, it got a Democratic state Supreme Court elected. But I just, it despairs me that we're always fighting, to quote a title of a David Bowie song, we're always crashing in the same car. We're fighting, these culture wars over issues that, other than to say the quality of life should should not be affected for any class of people. The I guess I'm rambling, but we're not addressing the material benefits of what we could be doing. And
Yeah, I see. I definitely see what you're saying. I mean, it's true. The right has they're good at calling where where the battle is going to be fought. It's hard to I mean, they just have a number of things going for them. Obviously, part of it is I do think they are louder because they are, when it comes to these cultural issues, they realize they are fighting a losing battle. I mean, with time, a lot of these social issues will be losing battles for them. It's just generational change. It's just how it's going to go for them, whether they like it or not. They realize this. That's why they're trying to get as loud as possible right now to get what they need to get through, because the time is now for them. Also, they have a media apparatus that the left does not have. There are, dozens and dozens and dozens of large media networks, websites, channels, you name it. Specifically, pushing right-wing rhetoric and talking points. There's nothing like that there's nothing like that in the left. The idea that like CNN, they like to paint it as like CNN and MSNBC and New York Times, Washington Post. No, that's just corporate media. Sometimes we might align with them on one specific instance, like one specific like thing that happened that's a social justice issue or whatever, but most of the time it's just straight up. It's more in line with right wing beliefs. Straight up corporatism. But it is rough, but we do have time in a general sense. We have, as in the leftists have time on their side as it comes to when it comes to individuals, like when it comes to healthcare and civil rights for certain marginalized groups. Obviously those people, we don't have the time, because those are individuals who, some of these issues could end up hurting them or killing them or leading to their death. Medical care, like I mentioned, or, harassment and the hate crimes. So yeah, I don't have an answer of what can be done differently, but that is the issue. That is the issue.
I think hating on gay people and just on the gay and lesbian community, I liken these fights to being addicted to drugs. The more you use, the more you need to get high. You know what I mean? So whereas in the '90s they could get high off of a fight over whether Ellen was gay on TV, now they need to fight over literally. If you look at some of these crazy bills and some of these gestures could go to the point of like looking at people's genitals. I know that sounds weird, but it's like there's going to be a genitals police. So that's what they. Whereas in the night, yeah.
I mean, it's all. They obviously view this as winning rhetoric for them, a winning talking point, winning issue, and I think they are correct as of right now. It is, it is an issue that they are going to get points with their followers on. I mean, it's not. I don't think it's going to gain them anything. I could be wrong. I mean, I'm sure there are some.
Sad.
I'm sure there's enough middle-aged suburban moms out there who are totally falling into the. And I don't just mean women. I'm suburban parents out there who are falling into the whole. Who are falling into the whole like, my daughter won't be able to win her swimming competitions because there'll be a trans person on the team. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure there's that, yes. But in terms of like, is this a winning issue for them like 10 years down the line when, you know, young millennials and Gen Z are now, older and having kids and they're the parents and they've already come up in a world where they have a lot of LGBTQ friends and they find nothing wrong with it. I don't think that's going to be a winning issue then. It's going to be immensely harder for them because that's what most of this is. Like, there's a lot more gay and lesbian people in this country than there are trans people. You know a gay or lesbian person, and if you don't think you know a gay or lesbian person, you probably do. You just don't know it. With trans people, they are a much smaller percentage of the population, and the odds are, though, that you probably do. If you don't know a trans person, the odds are you've probably come across a trans person without knowing it.
Personally, I know two here in Northeast Tennessee.
Yeah, so I mean,
and that might be, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, that's probably the thing. Like, if you meet someone who is in this whatever group it is that you do not like or do not think should have the same rights as you, and you get to know them and you realize that they are just like you, a human being. What's the cliche? Both bleed red. It's the same. You're the same.
Yeah, we all bleed.
Yeah. Then you're much more willing to think, then why shouldn't my friend or my acquaintance or this person who is super nice and no different than me, why shouldn't they be treated with respect? I mean, it just comes down to that. And I think, as people get to realizing that they know trans people, or my previous point where young people who they're much more open and diverse and they know trans people, then I think, with that time, the right's not going to win on this issue. But they clearly found an opening right now, and it's true. They are correct that they can win this one right now because we're not where we're not where we are, where we need to be when it comes to trans rights, without a doubt.
It took
With the public perception at the very least.
It took 10 years for the gay and lesbian, and I use that term because that was au courant, meaning of the time in the 90s. In the 90s, it was the gay and lesbian community. That's what it was called. Only in the last maybe 15 or 20 years has the BT or the BTQIA part of that acronym come into prominence. So it took 15 years for the gay and lesbian community to gain, a hold of the mainstream. So I'm assuming, I'm hoping that it will take less time, but I'm thinking it may take that amount of time. I appreciate you for taking my call. I guess if the right ringers want to get really freaky, they need to go hang out with Madison Cawthorn up there in DC and do some key bumps and chill with Madison and Kevin McCarthy at their sex parties.
Yeah. Oh, right.
They're
right.
sexual.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're sexual. He said that they asked him to go to quote sexual. What is it? Sexual parties. I don't think that
Sexual
anyone would
parties.
ever use that
Amazing.
phrase.
Yeah. I mean,
Anyway,
yeah. Thanks for the call. It was a very interesting
thanks,
conversation.
man. I appreciate you, man.
Always appreciate when you call in. You have a very interesting perspective based on where you are, based on where you're based.
Yeah, it's the rural area. All right, man. See ya.
Take care.
Good night. All right, bye.
Yeah, I mean, I've brought this up before in terms of what we're seeing right now, especially with the. Oh wait, we got a call. I'll take the call. Oh, here we go. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from? Hello?
Yes, it's Renee from Santiago, Chile.
Renee, I've seen you in the chat where you.
Yeah,
but you haven't called in a while. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Yeah. One message for Grim, Nie Bonnie, and that's in Russia, no to war. No, really, the crazy thing that happened to me, if you've seen me on Twitter, is that I'm participating in a campaign for Florida, of all places. The candidate is Alan L. Ellison. He's kind of like for the in the running in the primary, the Democratic primary for senator. He's running up against Val Demings. And basically, since we're not supposed to like
Oh wait,
knife
you
each other,
you DM'd me about this person, I think, right?
yeah.
Okay, I
if
need
he was
to.
able to get on the
Yes.
show and talk about his campaign and things.
Yes. Now I haven't done electoral politics shows in a little while. But yeah, let's make it happen for sure.
It's in the center of anything like what you were calling with the last caller who ended up in a kind of like eyes wide shut kind of note. That basically the whole thing, the campaign is like running in various topics, but one of them was like on not afraid to say gay because of the bill regarding education in Florida regarding gender issues. So we made like several tweets about that, and there was like a whole kind of thing about like the alligator, leave me alone, don't tread on me. It was like
Right.
kind of like
I
a
like
meme
that.
war between his campaign and Ron DeSantis. So we ran with it with the alligator with the rainbow flag saying not afraid to say gay. I suggested that we make the alligator gay and things like that, like wearing a handbag or something. But they
Well,
went with that.
whoa, I don't think you should do that. I know you mean well, but you wanted to play into stereotypes and
No,
things like that.
no. I mean, it was just like messing with him. But I
Oh,
mean,
okay. If you're just joking around,
and
yeah, all right.
it's Miami, Coconut Grove. I mean, it's that kind of humor.
Right, right.
But I mean, no. What I did was like, for instance, in gun control, I put like a photo of a Glock and an alligator, and I said like Glocks aren't for hunting and things like that. It's still like
I
several.
like the
What they
alligator
need me
being
for
used.
is like for Spanish, you know.
Right. I like
It's
the alligator
like
being used for the "Don't Tread on Me" stuff. Is that a thing down there, or is that something you guys came up with?
that's what Ron DeSantis was doing with the alligator a lot. So we were just responding with our own alligator tweets and things like that.
Right. Oh, was your idea like alligator leather bag? Was that your thing? Like you tread on the alligator?
Um,
Like you
yeah,
you
I guess I mean the Ron DeSantis and the
could
whole
do a
campaign
nice
was like
could do a nice pair of boots.
yeah,
Some
to
nice
get the Louis
cowboy
Vuitton
boots.
contingent. But actually, the focus is more on Marco Rubio. I did like a kind of like hashtag like iRuby. I'm calling him Ruby. iRuby que desastre. Oh Ruby, what a mess, and things like that. Because for instance, he's like really fixated on the whole thing on an embargo on Cuba, and he actually got into trouble. I mean, he was like criticizing the ambassador to Spain as a Castro apologist, and basically my focus was like there's more pressing issues, and especially targeted to the Hispanic and Cuban abuelitas who are seniors now, and they need like more healthcare, more social care, more services focused on the distinct issues now that the population is increasingly aging and all that, especially as a retiree state and things like that.
Mm, interesting. I
Yeah.
mean, it sounds like you guys got some good good things that you're focusing on. I'm interested in,
Yeah,
in
it's
talking
crazy
to.
that I'm
So
operating like outside of.
he's going head to head with Val Dennings first in the primary. Is that who he would?
Yeah, that's kind of like there's two things about it that they're not attacking Val Demings directly, instead like focusing on the right,
Which is smart
and I can't do anything
because
about
I
that.
think the people down in Florida who are Democrats and that probably like her. Maybe they'll be hopefully they're open to voting for someone different, but that's very smart for sure. She's not like she's not like a disliked figure down there, from my understanding. But continue.
Right. There's a whole. I mean, I can't comment on that, but I mean, this other guy is kind of new. He isn't based on.
Well, her politics aren't great. I mean, obviously better than
Right.
a Republican,
That's
but we could do
we're trying
better
to
for
push
Democrats. Yeah.
We're trying to push the more progressive kind of thing, but they're not letting me completely loose, as you noticed. So because I'm a little bit like, the thing that I did immediately was I posted like on Instagram and on Instagram and on Twitter that all my opinions, antisocial opinions, aren't condoned by the campaign.
Right.
Just in case if anybody like thinks of me as like representing like the campaign as a left winger, slightly more left to what's usually in American politics.
Right. No, I mean, it sounds, hit me up again via DM. Let's make this happen. I don't know when is the primary?
Yeah, it's I guess with the other ones in the United States, I'm kind of out of the loop.
Right. No, it's not. It's different for each state when we get to these. It's probably, is it a June primary or September primary? And here in New York, we have June primaries for these races. I'm not sure though if it would be for U.S. Congress though. I'll have to look it up, but I'll look it up when.
Yeah, I'll get my people to do that as well.
All right, so let's definitely make it happen. Yeah, let's talk over DM on Twitter. Thanks for the call, Renee.
Okay.
Always a pleasure to hear from you.
Okay, bye.
Take care.
I'll call in later about Chile.
Oh, sounds good. Yep. Peace. Where's this? Give me 1 second. I wanted to grab this. I need to grab this here. Grab this. I left it here in this packaging. 1 second. I wanted to. There's someone who's gonna call in. Give me 1 second. Where did I do with this? Oh, here it is. Okay. I wanted to show them. I saw them calling in before. So I wanted to make sure that I had it by my side. I know they're watching because they just tried to call in. Oh, let me go on full screen here. Kowalski Family Farming. No, excuse me. Kowalski Family Farms, Inc. Ooh, fancy ink. KFFI. Ooh, I love it. This is the back of the shirt. Beautiful, beautiful. I'm gonna rock this bad boy. I you know me, Kowalski. I wear black all the time, so I don't know if I'll be wearing this on a live stream. Maybe for you, I'll do one live stream. Maybe at least in the second half of the show, I'll change shirts during my short little break. I just don't like how I look in non-black colors. I'm more of my whole life I've been wearing tight black clothes, so it's sort of my thing. But for you, I'll do it. Problem is I like the back of the shirt better. You should make this the front of the shirt. This should be the front of the shirt, and this should be the back. Just little design tips. Go reprint all your T-shirts right now. Political troll says Matt going goth. Black is not a goth thing only. Black's a punk thing too. Oh, Kowalski's calling in. Let's do this. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling? Why did I just say that? I know it's you. How you doing, Kowalski?
Hey, it is Kowalski. Yeah, cool shirt you got there.
It's a beaut.
Yeah, and you're not the first person to mention that about the back. That's actually just how like a lot of farm shirts are around here. Like very simple in the front, everything's usually in the back. But actually, the reason I was wanted to call in was you got any stories from the live show? I mean, I think that was your first time meeting Brandon, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, right.
Anything cool happen?
I didn't talk about the live show. Crap, I forgot to. Well, it's not too late. It's the second half of the show here.
Yeah, we
it
just didn't know if there was like some situation where Emma, like Will Smith, slapped somebody if they
Right,
were like
so-
getting their cashews or.
So I can tell you that there was a huge brawl between Emma and John Benjamin. Huge, huge brawl. And then I know that there apparently was, I didn't see it, but from some tweets I saw, there was some sort of little beef between Nomiki and the Left Reckoning crew. They had a complete, like, chairs and tables, complete, like, ECW Extreme Championship Wrestling brawl. No, everyone was great. Everyone was happy to see each other. It was a beautiful thing. It was tons of fun. One really funny thing is I got there. I think I was the last person to get there. I got there 5 minutes or 10 minutes after Sam asked us all to get there, because fashionably late. I'm also pretty sure I was coming in the furthest in terms of everyone who was on the show. But I opened the door to the back to go backstage, and everyone's hanging out there in like the back room. And at the Bell House in the back room, I think in general you have to wear. They require mask wearing still, or at least Sam did for his show. So everyone in the back was wearing a mask. And I didn't ever met everyone. In fact, no, I met Brandon before. I actually did meet Brandon at the Michael Brooks show in February 2020. So I knew Brandon. Matt, like I've met a number of times. Obviously, Sam, I've met a number of times. But I had not met Nomiki, and if you could believe it, I had not previously met Emma, even though I've been doing a weekly show with her for the past, since November 2020 at the very least.
Not exactly the same, but a friend of mine, he got married 2 years ago, and a couple of his buddies that he met online video games like Call of Duty came from Michigan to the wedding. So
wow,
it's amazing the connections you make with people.
I mean, inviting someone like that to a wedding, though, is a whole nother step, though. That's crazy. He didn't, like, hang out with them first to make sure everything was on the up and up? Because who knows, So when I walk in the back room, though, they're all wearing the masks, and Emma had done her hair. Like, she did her hair for the show. And so her hair looking different and her wearing the mask. And I guess I wasn't ready for exactly how tall she was. Like, she's not really tall, but she's not short either. She's taller than me. I'm short. She just came right up to me and gave me a hug. And I swear to God, I was like, in my head, I was like, who the fuck is hugging me? And it took me a second.
Hilarious.
It took me a second after the hug to realize, oh, it's Emma. Oh my God. It's nice to meet you finally. Yeah, but
you see, that's one of the reasons why I would be a little uncomfortable coming to one of your guys' live shows. You guys all seem bigger than, reality for all of us who just watch you through the screens. But every time I meet a celebrity or like a musician or something, it's always like, yep, they're just regular people.
Right. Oh, people in the chat realize that they don't know who. I forget that not everyone who watches the show knows me from the Majority Report. I'm talking about Emma Vigeland from the Majority Report. I was
that
on.
Venn diagram cannot be that far apart.
It shockingly is sometimes. People have actually told me that they found that out about the Majority Report from Doomed, and that baffles me. But there is an audience there that did not know me from the Majority Report, interestingly enough. But so I was, for people who don't know, I was one of the guests on the Majority Report live show in Brooklyn this past Saturday. It was a sold-out, packed show at the Bell House in Brooklyn. And it was great. And there was a live stream feed. I don't know if Sam has made that available for everyone or if he's planning to. But if you weren't there live, there was a live stream that you could have watched. You paid for a live stream ticket. to watch it live from home if you couldn't make it there. You would have seen me on stage with the rest of the Majority Report crew, and you would have seen that I am easily the shortest person who is part of that crew, without a doubt. Maybe Nomiki's closest in height to me. I don't know if she's taller than me or at the same height level as me, but we are basically that's the person who's closest in height to me. I found out because I met Nomiki for the first time there too. Nomiki Konst. Again, for people who don't know who I'm talking about. Matt Leck is obviously very tall. Sam Cedar is very tall. Very tall to me, of course. I know you are tall, Kowalski, so they might not seem tall to you.
It really is relative because, like, a lot of times I don't even think I'm that tall just because, like, my immediate family. Oh, I'll probably mention this, then I'll hang up. But
you know what? Brandon is not tall. Brandon might just be like an inch or two taller than me, if even that. But obviously he's very brolic, so that makes up for his like, you know, his height not being as over the top as, you know, because he's very buff.
You and him are very big personalities, but I was just going to mention this, like, in my family, being fairly big and tall, like, runs in our family. Like, just this past week, I was showing my niece how to drive. Like, she's 7 and can, you know, sit on the edge of the seat and touch the pedals, steer and see over the steering wheel and all that jazz. But just something kind of interesting. She is actually taller than everyone in her class, and all but one student in the class or grade above them. So would she have an unfair advantage in sports then?
Oh, right. Yes, I know you're. Yeah. This is a point I've seen made. It's a good point. Yeah, I mean, right. It's yeah. It's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous.
Just remember, everyone, I do think sports are made up.
I do think this, you know, obviously as more trans people play sports, what we're going to see is, or people come out as trans who play sports, I should say. It probably will be an issue where the various different leagues need to sit down and figure out what exactly are the rules to make sure it is like a fair thing. And, you know, that's what NCAA swimming did. Like, Leah Thomas had to have been on her hormones for something like a year before she could swim in the women's league. And, you know, it is obviously a issue in progress. So on the sports thing specifically. So I get that this will be something that as it grows, sure. But the way they're treating it now is like absurd. They basically complained about literally it being a non-issue because none of these trans sports, none of these trans athletes really made it in any rankings that made it worthwhile having this discussion where someone was actually having their like opportunity taken away. Until apparently Leah Thomas came along, and now they have to make it an issue. Like there's some like big thing. Like it's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous.
Exactly. But well, anyways, really nice shirt, and I don't mind if you don't wear it online. It's just something interesting that I could get that no one else could give you.
I will definitely wear it. The question is, will you be seeing me wear it on a stream? That's a question yet to be answered.
Well, it gives you +2 strength, +1 perception, +5 endurance. Unfortunately, -8 luck. So
there you go.
Use it sparingly. See you, man.
Thanks for the call, Kowalski. Oh, and let me say this. I announced this on the Patreon, the second half of the show, which is now called, for Scam Economy, the second half of the show is now called the Scam Economy Crypto Hotline. Live, by the way. Because the post show didn't do it justice. I want people to fully know they can call in and talk crypto, which not many shows out there allow you to do. But I announced on that show, and I'm going to announce this for patrons here too, in case you're a patron who doesn't watch Scam Economy or haven't listened to the latest episode yet. There are. Oh, I gotta shut off the green screen for a second. Give me 1 second here. Folks, I have, for all of you, jeez, I'm dropping it all over the place. Scam Economy stickers, hot off the presses. Got a bunch. Just a first run here. Tried out like a test run. I think they look nice. I would like to give them to patrons for free. No shipping and handling charges even. But I am going to ask for one favor. You're already a patron, so that's why you get it for free. But the extra favor, look at the extra favor as it covering shipping and handling charges. And if you absolutely do not want to do this, it's okay. I'll still get you a sticker if you're a patron. At least until I run out, because this test run does not have enough for all the patrons. But I'll see what I can do after that to even. But let's do one thing at a time. My daughter is up. Okay, her mom is there. I wanted to pull up this picture too. So what I'm going to ask of my patrons who would like this sticker first is I would be forever grateful if you could leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify for Scam Economy, or Doomed even if you'd like to. You could leave a review for Doomed if you don't listen to Scam Economy. The Scam Economy reviews are actually more helpful right now because we are ranking on Apple Podcasts for Scam Economy, and that's where the reviews help push the show up the rankings. So that's my explanation for why I'd like you to do this. This isn't like an ego thing for me. I'm not asking you to leave me a review so I feel great. Literally, it helps your patrons to support the show and help me do this so it gets in front of as many eyeballs as possible. By leaving a review, you also do that because I can see that correlation between Apple Podcast rankings and more people downloading the show. So, there is a post on Patreon telling you to just leave a comment with the review you left on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Leave that comment there, and I will reach out to you over the next week or two asking for your address. And when I do that, I will send you guys a Scam Economy sticker. So cool. Now, what did I want to... There's something I wanted to show. What happened to it? Someone already sent me... I should have saved it. That would have been smart of me. Oh my God. Am I going to have to... Where is it? Maybe I have it here. Let's see. Where is it? Because I did give stickers to 2 regular listeners who, oh my God, I can't find it. I even liked it too. What did I do with it? All right, well, I'll have to find it later. 2 regular listeners, not just listeners, 2 regular callers to Doomed and Scam Economy showed up, and I got to meet them in person too, which was awesome. And they posted a picture, and I really wanted to my bad. My fault. Well, anyway. Oh, wait, what if I go through here like this? I tweeted too much today, so I got too many replies, so I lost it. Let's see if I can find it. I'm almost there. I think I can find it. Here it is. Almost there. There we go. This is what I wanted. Found it. You guys might recognize them. Omega and Ola. Well, I forgot what he tells me to call him on the show. To I don't remember. I'm sorry. We had a whole conversation about that on the when I met them. But two regular callers into Scam Economy and Doomed. Got to meet them. It was very cool. You'll recognize them, obviously. And I brought stickers with me just in case I ran into anyone who were patrons who left reviews, and they got their stickers already. Uncle Devin says, outside guy. Yes, that is outside guy, right? That is outside guy. Ola, excuse me. Literally is the guy who always calls in, and he's outside of a different Brooklyn establishment every single time. He might be the only person who calls into my live stream when he's hanging out at a bar somewhere in Brooklyn. Donald says, I'll put the Doom sticker on the back of my brother's car in secret. I don't have Doom stickers yet. Zoe just realized how small. I just forgot that some of you, that is how short I am. Yeah. I'm not tall. They both were very much taller than me. I'm very short. I'm between 5'4" and 5'5". I like to say I'm 5'5", but I'm not quite there, I don't think. So yeah. Leave a Apple Podcast review or a Spotify review if you're a patron. Drop a comment in that Patreon post about the stickers, letting me know what the review is. I will reach out over the next week or two and send you the sticker. And again, if you really don't want to leave that review, but you want the sticker and you're a patron, I'll make that work too. But help me out first. More so than you already do. This one doesn't cost you anything. All right. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Msetti calling from upstate New York.
Hey, Msetti. What's up? What would you like to talk about?
Well, so when Kowalski was talking about his niece, it really reminded me something more about the whole trans issues going on.
Sure.
And he, and you mentioned that, his niece being so tall, could that be like an advantage in sports? And it could be. But one of the things that I don't hear too many people outside of like the trans community talking about is that the imposition of, you have a lot of people say, we can always tell when somebody's trans, and they can't. And it's hilarious seeing like the posts on Twitter where they just get it so wrong. They can't tell. And one of the things that is happening with this, and will happen the more they push it, is that standards for cis women will also be changed. And it's, so a bald woman will be made fun of, or somebody who's gender nonconforming in any way. It's not only regressive for trans people, trans women, trans men, to talk about these standards and to impose these standards on them, but that's regressive for everybody.
Right.
And we're already getting pushbacks against birth control and women's rights in every form. And so as much as I don't think everybody realizes that this is not just a fight for trans people, but it's a fight for women's rights in general, like minority rights in general too. It's for everybody. It's
right. You made a mention of it really quickly in the beginning there, but you see it all the time online where someone posts a picture of like there's one with like a transgender MMA fighter standing across from a cisgender MMA fighter, and you see right wingers reply going like, "Oh, the woman on the left, you can see her Adam's apple, clearly a man," and that's the cisgender woman they're talking about.
Yeah, that was amazing.
And then there's the another one I saw, and this is a good one because this ties directly into the current Leah Thomas thing. Someone posted a picture of Katie Ledecky, the famous, probably the famous swimmer, like you should be able to name in the U.S. Like I don't know of any other famous women swimmers. If you're not a swim fan, I guess this is a name that should be known because of her amazing Olympics run. Someone posted a picture of Katie Ledecky, and they were like, that man should not be allowed to swim with other women. And someone had to point out that's Olympic, like multi-gold medalist Katie Ledecky.
Yeah. Yeah, and another hilarious thing is that there's a trans person on Twitter I follow, and they posted something pointing out the trans panic laws in the United States about how if you sleep with somebody and you find out they're trans, you can use that in court. If you kill them and then in court, you can use that the trans panic as a defense legally in certain states. And they've been getting a lot of hate for that. And so their comeback to that post was, well, it's kind of funny that people are so worried about finding out if somebody's trans if you can always tell.
Right. It is, it's so ridiculous because all it's going to take is for, just like what happened with, gay and lesbian rights. People just met more gay and lesbian people, or their gay and lesbian friends came out and they realized, holy shit, I knew a gay or lesbian person this whole time and they were no different than me. Like, that's just all it's going to take. It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's still hate crimes and bigotry towards gay and lesbian people, but it is much different than what it was.
Yeah, definitely. Though we're starting to get pushed back to that too. So, I mean, I hope you're right when you say that this is kind of the dying gasp.
Oh, you reminded me with that I totally forgot to. I don't know. When I say dying gasp, I don't know if I don't know if it's gonna ever die. But that is why they're the loudest now.
Yeah.
They see that this is their opportunity, at least for the trans stuff.
Yeah, and I grew up conservative, very much not that any longer. But my older brother has he's regressed more and more from being like an evangelical. Now he's like a trad prot. Who makes fun of Protestants and evangelicals, but it's just so weird. So he's doing his own like regressive thing in response to this, and I think they very much know they're on the back foot, which is why they're trying to punch. But I do think that they sense that huge gains have been made.
Right. Yeah, I mean, let me. If you have anything else, because let me let you go. Then I have one more.
No, that was it. All right,
thanks
awesome. A lot for taking the call.
No, thanks for the call. It was great points, and you reminded me of something I wanted to talk about that I got distracted from. Have a great night.
You too.
So I've warned about this for a while now, and for quite a while. I first really noticed how much it was being used in like 2015 or 2016, because I think it was Mike Cernovich's go-to, and that is it's full blown now. And again, another thing I'm early to that I'm gonna get no recognition for, but that's life. I spoke about this on this show or the Majority Report, and then definitely on Twitter a few years ago. There is, and it's full blown now, there is a major push on the right to basically just paint their opponents as pedophiles. And they will jump to calling you a pedo or a pedophile, a groomer. That's the big one right now. Just because, it's the easiest thing in the world to do to basically distract from the fact that they have a losing argument. It's a great way to try to tarnish the other person's name if it actually catches on. Everybody hates pedophiles, rightly so. But if you can convince enough people that this person's a pedophile because you call him a pedophile all the time, then boom, you just got people thinking this person's a groomer or a pedo. And so you saw this in like 2015, 2016 with like the Cernoviches. And then QAnon really ran with it. Pizzagate, that's what Cernovich basically used that for. with Comet Pizza and their basement that did not exist. That was apparently trafficking children, which again did not happen. And then QAnon ran with this, with the whole Save the Children thing. And you have seen this. Let me call you back in 1 second, Grim. And then you have seen this in being deployed for all their culture war fights. For all their culture war fights now. And you know what? When I tried to fight back against one of the culture war fights, you'll recall I just pointed out, I sent like 1 or 2 tweets at first about how stupid the whole brouhaha over that Netflix movie Cuties was. And I was absolutely, I was the person on the other side. I was victimized by the right who ascended on my Twitter page and threw those accusations at me. You had people leaving horrible. Some assholes even went so far to go to pictures of me with my children on Instagram and leave disgusting messages on there about me and my kids, saying horrible things about me on photos of my children because I had the nerve to fight back against their culture war bullshit. And what's their easy go-to? He's a groomer. He's a pedo. And you know what? That time it worked really well on their part because I had a few people fucking who were followers of mine even, who I presumed were lefties, and they fucking fell into that shit. Like they fucking fell for it like a bunch of dunce caps. It was really disappointing to see. And I don't pay attention to like when like who gets mad at me or whatever. But that time I sure did because they fed into a total right-wing hit job. Just like the idiots at who fell into Cernovich's hit job on Sam Cedar about his anti-Roman Polanski joke, which Cernovich tried to turn around into Sam defending him, which was clearly not the case for anyone who read the joke. And there were a few lefties or people who consider themselves to be on the left who attacked me and joined the right-wing attack on me. I'll never forget that shit. That's something you don't forget. The fucking idiots who joined that shit. I should name names too about who they were. One of them is I won't bother right now. It's been long enough, whatever. But I'll remember that shit, you know. And I'm not someone, anyone who knows me knows I'm too nice and I don't hold grudges. Too nice for my own guy. I get taken advantage of sometimes because I'm too nice. But that shit. So yeah, I've been warning about this shit for a long time. I saw it coming. Clear as day. And it's a winning fight for them because how easy is that? Just throw accusations of pedophilia or grooming at someone. Take It Easy says pedo stuff goes way back, like that satanic panic tunnels under the school shit. Right. But that was like, you know, more of a religious right type thing. I'm talking about full-blown right-wing. And then there was a time period where that obviously died down and that wasn't a thing anymore. Like late 90s, early 2000s, that started to die out. And then you didn't hear that shit again until the late 2010s with, Pizzagate, QAnon, and the alt-right assholes weaponizing that shit. And it should be said that that type of shit hurts the movements and the people who do the work, the organizations who do the work to fight that shit that hurts kids, to fight sex trafficking and, the issues, sex abuse to children. These groups have come out and said, this recent push from the right and QAnon and these conspiracy groups and the far right and right-wingers calling everything this and go take it upon themselves just to accuse random people, it has severely hurt our legitimate work to help kids who experience this stuff for real. So yeah, that's something I've been working on, something on that, on covering that more. I think we're going to see that a lot more. Um, hey, what's your name? Where you calling from? Hello, you're on the air.
All right. Actually, let me see if I can turn speakerphone on. Never mind. Maybe that'll work. No, I just say real quickly that I've been noticing that the sort of retaliatory behavior describing is the exact sort of thing that Scientologists did to journalists who would follow them. They would say, "What are your crimes?" and try to push people into a corner and
Right.
try to get them. Oh, good, the speakerphone is on. And try to get them to basically get people to like back off or whatever, but also to just smear them.
Right.
But again, they were smearing them with anything that would possibly fit. And of course, the worst thing you could possibly say is that you're a kitty diddler. So it is, of course, very funny because, of course, there are other parallels to Scientology.
Right.
Just thought that was worth bringing up.
No, for sure. I think that's a great point.
Because obviously, the cult behavior, conspiracy theories, and also that sort of tribalism that sort of Scientology puts out, which again is more of the conspiracy theory sort of thinking, that they are the special chosen people who know the secret.
Right.
No.
Right.
Yeah,
that's a great. Yeah, I think that's a great. I need to do it at least an episode on Scientology. I have not done one on this show yet, and it's obviously in this wheelhouse, and it's obviously does cross over into a number of different things that I've discussed in the show before. So it's certainly something to do something
on. Or just like cults in general. Maybe find someone who does like exit counseling. Because again, I don't know if there's anything we can do to obviously. There's no real derailing these things once they get up and going, but knowing how to get maybe individuals out is helpful.
Right. Right. For sure.
No.
Yeah.
It's very. It's difficult. Especially seeing family get caught up in like MAGA bullshit, whatever. Like sometimes you got to know there's just nothing you can do.
You're right. Yeah, no, for sure. I've said on this show there are people who are lost for good, and you just can't. There's nothing you can do. Yeah. That sucks when that happens. But
we've talked about that before.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, I think we have
over like super chats or something like that.
Yeah,
long ago. That like sometimes someone is just they have to figure it out for themselves. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah. Thanks for the call, Grim. I will definitely.
Absolutely.
I definitely.
Sorry. I just like, had that Quaker moment where I was like, this parallel is there.
No, it is absolutely there, and you reminded me that I need to get on top of doing an episode on. I wanted to actually do more cult stuff in general on this show because again, that's what I talk about. Well, because but mine are usually Bitcoin, political. Right? What's that?
Well, it's the same thing with Bitcoin. Is that all this focus on community?
Yeah.
That was another thing I wanted to bring up to you. I don't know if you ever heard of this concept of affective labor.
No, I have not. Affective.
So basically, it's like emotional labor. Service industries can also sort of fall into the same thing that, like, having to be nice to people, having
effective labor is work carried out that That
with
is,
an A.
yeah,
Yeah.
affective labor is work carried out that is intended to produce or modify emotional experiences in people.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing that really, parallels the way these crypto influencers behave is really sex work. People who have pornographic social media accounts like OnlyFans and stuff, and the way they sort of interact with their clients, or people who do like webcamming. I think there's more parallels, or at least there's a lot of parallels between the way that people behave um, uh, in sex work and in the way that people basically produce cons, and that's a lot of what crypto is a con.
Right.
And so you're trying to build an emotional relationship so people can think to themselves, I'm making a rational investment decision.
Right.
But they're making an emotional.
Oh, without a doubt, you could
Yeah.
hear it in a lot of the people who called in to my call-in portion of the show. You could just hear how they are looking at it. Like one of the first callers, very nice guy, was talking about what drew him in was the community around it. I mean, and then you have a number of people who get very intense about how this is like it's clearly major part of their identity doing crypto. Like I can't think of anything financial that's a major part of my identity. I could not. To me, that's not an identity. I mean, obviously your class is part of your identity, but to make like a financial product part of your identity is very bizarre to me. I mean,
no, but that's where the like stay poor attitude or whatever comes in mind. Like it's the behaving like they're all just temporarily embarrassed millionaires.
Right.
And someday they are going to be the thing that they want to be.
Right.
That this is their path to it. And that's again how it brings itself back to cults, particularly what you would call like a millenarian cult that believes like the new millennium is upon us. And you see that in the sort of stuff that like you're pushing against the idea that that somehow it could be progressive.
It is that honestly nothing angers me more than that. Listen, if you're a progressive that wants to do it, yeah, I've been to Vegas. It's fun. It's not progressive. It's not a leftist. It's not. I'm not gonna all of a sudden go out and go like leftists for casinos. You know what I mean? Like it's ridiculous.
I mean, we can say that like there are some aspects of the blockchain that could be used in some sort of future labor token scheme, but there are so many other things.
Yeah, I was originally way before, like years ago. I was on board that whole, I'm critical of crypto, but blockchain, the technology could have some potential in the future. And then the more I read into it, the more I read about it, the more I looked into it, the more I spoke to people, the more I learned from experts, the more I completely moved away from that idea. And I have to say that it's completely useless. Yep. There's nothing about it that isn't, there's technology that does that whatever use case that could possibly be beneficial, that could use Bitcoin, there's better technology that could be used to do it better.
Well, yeah, and that's what I'm saying, like, not Bitcoin itself, but the blockchain maybe could be used. But again,
that's what I was talking about. No, did I say Bitcoin? I meant blockchain.
Okay, fair enough. In any case, the point that I'm making is like it's inconsequential. The blockchain or crypto. There are so many other things about how we behave and how we what we choose to value as a culture that would have to change to really bring about that world. And changing currency, while important, would be downstream of the other cultural shifts that would have to occur.
Right. Yeah.
No.
I just am totally I just don't think there's anything there at all. I've completely I think it's just the fact that we would use technology for something that's just highly bad for the environment too, to do something that like a simple database structure can do. And the cool thing about a database is that you can fucking edit it. Like, the idea that you cannot edit something on the blockchain is the most ridiculous thing I ever heard in my life. But that's the whole point of it being a blockchain.
It would be really useful if you were trying to build Skynet and you needed to know where everything is at all times because you wanted to have an absolute control society. Then, yeah, I guess it's kind of useful. But I don't see much use for Skynet.
Like, blockchain, the very name of the blockchain requires these, these networks create, which when we're talking crypto, the miners, the mining, apparatuses, to use up enormous amounts of energy to solve these, to solve these, these algorithmic equations, to create these blocks on the chain. Completely pointless. Why do you need to do that? You don't need to do that if you're using it as a database.
Well, they need to do that because it was a way. I mean, again, it goes back to the gold bug aspects of of the individuals who produce Bitcoin in the first place. They want there to be a limited reserve of money because they want it to fight inflation. So basically, it has to get more astronomically difficult to mine a Bitcoin as it goes on.
Right. Yeah, that was the point, to make it harder. So yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And so then, which again makes it, even harder to really think of it as a lived currency, because then you're trading increasingly fractional portions of a Bitcoin or whatever the more stable coin or whatever.
Right.
It's again, it just winds up becoming a shell game.
Right. Grim, let's save this call for Scam Economy on Thursday.
Yeah, really, right?
Have a great night, buddy. Thanks for calling in.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, folks. I think that's the show. I think we'll wrap it up right here, right now. I think that's the show for tonight. Scam Economy on Thursday. Everybody else. Oh, if you're not a patron, I should say, patreon.com/MattBinder. Get your stickers. If you can, leave an Apple Podcast review or a Spotify review, and then go to the Patreon post and leave your comment. I will get them to you over the next week or two. YouTube.com/MattBinder. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Twitch.tv/MattBinder. Follow the Twitch channel if you're not already. Let me ask you, I forgot to ask last time, who should I raid on Twitch? Who's streaming right now on Twitch? Who should I raid? Let's see who's and then and then that's it. Who should I raid? You guys tell me. I think most people today are watching on YouTube. It happens. But if you're who should I raid on Twitch? Who's streaming right now on Twitch? Willow? Let me see. All right, let's do Willow. I don't know who they are, but they seem good. Sounds good to me. Whoa, I got all these videos playing in my ear right now. Cool, let's do Willow. Sounds good to me. Starting the raid. All right, everybody. I will see you all next time on Doomed.